For centuries, Earth had been forgotten. The Galactic Council, a powerful group of alien species that governed the galaxy, had placed Earth under strict quarantine. The decision wasn't made lightly. The Council believed that humanity was a danger to the entire galaxy. Earth was cut off from the rest of the universe, and no one, no alien, no ship, dared to approach the planet. The Council's decision to quarantine Earth came after a violent event. A few hundred years ago, humans had developed advanced weapons. The galaxy's peaceful species were terrified. They saw the humans as wild, uncontrollable creatures, capable of destroying everything in their path. The humans fought wars with each other, used nuclear weapons, and tore their own world apart. No one knew what to expect from them. The Council agreed to seal Earth away. They shut down all communication with the planet. No ships were allowed to visit. Earth became a forgotten world, left to drift in the vast darkness of space. The humans were abandoned, left alone to deal with their chaos, their wars, and their troubles. The Council thought the humans would destroy themselves. They hoped they would. But something surprising happened. The humans didn't destroy themselves. They survived. They adapted. They learned. Instead of falling apart, they began to rebuild. The wars slowly stopped, and humans began to grow. They used the lessons from their past mistakes to create something new. They didn't know it, but they were changing in ways that no one in the galaxy could have predicted. While the Galactic Council watched from afar, Earth changed. Humans discovered new ways to live, new ways to think. They used their creativity and stubbornness to solve problems that seemed impossible. They rebuilt their cities, their countries, and their societies. The humans didn't just survive, they thrived. They advanced in ways no one could have imagined. Their technology grew quickly. The humans learned to use the energy of their own planet, creating machines that could harness the power of the sun. They developed new kinds of transportation, not just on land, but in the air and the sky. Humans even built machines that could take them to the stars, breaking free from the gravity of their own planet. The Council, however, never noticed. The quarantine remained in place. The galaxy continued on, unaware of what was happening on Earth. The other alien species, too, had forgotten about the humans. They didn't know that the humans were no longer the same chaotic species they once feared. Humans were learning, growing, and becoming stronger every day. They built vast cities that reached into the skies. They began to explore their own solar system, sending ships to the moon, Mars, and beyond. They built space stations, exploring the edges of their star system. They didn't just want to survive anymore. They wanted to know what was out there. The stars, the galaxies, the mysteries of the universe, it all called to them. But still, the rest of the galaxy stayed silent. The humans had no idea the Council was watching. They didn't know the galaxy was out there, waiting for them to return. Earth was isolated, but the humans didn't care. They had their own world, and they were happy with it. For them, the rest of the universe was just a distant dream, something far beyond their reach. The humans kept pushing forward. Their science advanced at a pace that no one in the galaxy could match. They invented machines that could create energy from nothing. They solved problems that had stumped other species for centuries. They began to explore new worlds, their ships traveling farther and farther from Earth. Slowly, they began to realize that the galaxy wasn't just a dream, it was real. And yet, the Galactic Council did not respond. Earth's isolation continued. The humans knew nothing of the other species in the galaxy. They thought they were alone. They had no idea that the rest of the galaxy still viewed them as dangerous, as a species to be watched carefully, as a potential threat. The Council had made its decision years ago, and Earth remained locked away. But the universe was changing, and the humans were ready for something new. They didn't know it yet, but the quarantine was about to end. The Council would soon see that the humans were no longer the primitive species they had once feared. They had evolved, and the galaxy would soon have to reckon with the power of Earth. For now, the humans kept to themselves. They were still unaware that their time in isolation was coming to an end. But the stars were no longer out of reach. The universe would soon find out what had become of the once-forgotten planet Earth. The Galactic Council had made a decision centuries ago. Earth was to remain isolated, a forgotten planet, closed off from the galaxy, hidden away in the vastness of space. The Council believed the humans were too dangerous. Their wars, their technology, and their history of destruction made them a threat. But now, the Council had changed its mind. They thought it was time to see what had happened to the humans. They thought Earth might be ready to join the galactic community again. A fleet of alien ships left the Council's headquarters, traveling across the galaxy toward Earth. The aliens aboard the ships had no idea what to expect. They had heard nothing about humans for centuries. They expected to find a world in ruins, full of weak and primitive people struggling to survive. They thought Earth was still locked in the chaos it had once known. When the fleet finally arrived near Earth, they were stunned. The planet looked different from what they had expected. It wasn't a dying world. It wasn't covered in dust and smoke. It was alive, thriving, and full of light. The humans had done something extraordinary. They had changed in ways the galaxy never thought possible. The first ship descended into Earth's atmosphere. The alien crew on board were nervous, unsure of what they would find. The last time any alien had visited Earth, the humans were on the edge of self-destruction. But as the ship broke through the clouds and approached the surface, the crew could see it. Earth was no longer the war-torn, broken planet it had been. It was a vibrant world, full of energy and life. The ship landed in a city unlike any the aliens had ever seen before. The buildings were tall, gleaming with light, and reaching up toward the sky. The streets were busy, with humans walking around, going about their lives. The air was clean, the sky was clear, and the technology humans had developed was beyond anything the Council had imagined. As the aliens stepped out of their ship, they were met by a group of humans, not weak or frightened, but strong and confident. These humans weren't afraid. They looked at the aliens with curiosity, but no fear. The humans had seen their world change, and they were now ready to face whatever came next. They were no longer a species that needed to be saved. They were a species that had found its place in the galaxy. One of the alien leaders, an old and wise being, stepped forward to speak. "We did not expect this," the leader said, voice trembling. "We thought you were a species doomed to destroy yourselves." A human leader, a tall woman with a determined look in her eyes, smiled. "We were," she said simply, "but we learned. We grew. And now, we're ready to show you who we really are." The aliens could only watch in stunned silence. The humans had become something far greater than they had imagined. The humans had taken their failures, their past mistakes, and turned them into strength. They had rebuilt their world and made it a place where life could thrive, where technology could grow, and where peace could be found. The humans had not only survived, they had thrived. The alien ships, which had once carried fear and distrust, now hovered over a world that was beyond what the galaxy had expected. The humans had developed space travel on their own. They had learned how to harness energy in ways that other species hadn't even dreamed of. They had solved problems the galaxy's greatest minds had struggled with for centuries. As the human leader gave a tour of the city, explaining how they had come so far, the aliens couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The humans had built machines that could power entire cities with clean, renewable energy. They had created systems to clean the planet's oceans and skies. They had cured diseases that had once plagued their world. And they were only getting started. The aliens now saw the truth. Earth wasn't just a survivor. Earth was a reborn world. And the humans were no longer a species to be feared. They were a force to be reckoned with. They had risen from the ashes of their past, stronger and smarter than anyone could have guessed. But the shock wasn't over. As the day wore on, more ships began to arrive. The other species of the galaxy, who had once looked down on humanity, now watched in disbelief. The humans were no longer the weak, chaotic species they had once been. They were the new force in the galaxy, and the entire galaxy would have to adjust to their return. The humans had changed, and soon, the rest of the galaxy would have to change too. The news of Earth's return spread quickly across the galaxy. Once the Galactic Council had lifted the quarantine, the humans wasted no time in making their presence known. They had been isolated for so long, but now, with their new strength and advanced technology, they were ready to show the universe just what they had become. At first, the galaxy's species were unsure what to expect. Many thought that the humans would need time to adjust, that they would be weak compared to the other galactic civilizations. But they were wrong. The humans didn't need time. They had already spent centuries in isolation, learning, growing, and developing on their own. They had become a force that no one could ignore. Within days, human ships began appearing across the galaxy. Their fleets were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Huge, powerful ships that moved faster than the aliens could track. They didn't just show up in one place. They spread out across the galaxy, exploring every corner they could reach. It was like a spark had ignited. And now, the fire of humanity was spreading. Other species watched in awe as the humans began to make connections, build alliances, and spread their influence. They were not just learning how to interact with the galaxy. They were dominating it. The humans had advanced technology that could power entire planets, weapons that could take down fleets in seconds, and intelligence that far outpaced anything the Council had expected. In the space of just a few weeks, Earth became a key player in the galactic economy. Humans didn't just take part. They led the way. They offered new solutions to energy problems that had plagued the galaxy for millennia. They created trade routes faster than anyone could imagine, making other species realize that they needed humans just as much as humans needed them. But the humans weren't just building. They were also showing their strength. No one could deny that the human military was unlike anything else in the galaxy. Ships built with advanced technology moved through space with ease, and human soldiers were unmatched in skill and determination. The galaxy had seen wars, but nothing like what humans could now bring to the table. As the human fleets continued to grow, other species started to take notice. At first, they were impressed. The humans were strong, capable, and determined. But soon, fear started to settle in. There was one thing the galaxy had never seen before: humanity's ability to work together, to adapt, to change. Other species had relied on their advanced technology, their ancient traditions, and their old ways of thinking. But the humans had built a civilization from scratch, relying on each other and pushing forward without fear. In every corner of the galaxy, humans were making an impact. They helped planets suffering from food shortages, provided technology to species that had never seen it before, and even offered medical breakthroughs that saved millions of lives. Their reputation grew, and soon, other species began to seek them out for help. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and now they had no choice but to accept the fact that humans were no longer the weak, isolated species they once were. The humans didn't just want power for power's sake. They wanted something more. They wanted to change the galaxy for the better, to make it a place where everyone could thrive, not just the strongest species. With their technology, their energy solutions, and their military strength, they began to reshape the galaxy into a place where cooperation was just as important as strength. However, not all species were happy about this. Some saw the rise of humanity as a threat. The old, established species who had ruled the galaxy for centuries now found themselves worried. Humans didn't care about their old ways. They didn't care about their outdated systems. They were building a new world, a new order, and some of the older species feared they would be left behind. But the humans weren't interested in taking control for control's sake. They were interested in being part of something bigger. They wanted to share their knowledge and help others rise with them. And for the first time in a long time, The galaxy was looking at a new future, a future that was no longer ruled by the old ways. Humanity's explosion onto the galactic scene wasn't just about their technology or their military might. It was about their ability to adapt, to learn, and to bring new ideas to the table. The galaxy had always been a place of constant change, but the humans were changing it faster than anyone could keep up with. It was clear now. The humans were here to stay. They weren't just another species among many. They were a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy had seen many things, but nothing quite like this. The humans had risen from the ashes of their past and exploded into a future no one had expected. They were ready to take their place as leaders in the galaxy, and nothing could stand in their way. The Galactic Council had never faced a situation like this. The humans, once forgotten, had come back stronger than anyone could have imagined. At first, they thought the humans would be a simple problem to handle. After all, they had been locked away for centuries, and the Council assumed Earth was still a chaotic world filled with nothing but war and destruction. But now, the Council saw something very different. The humans were everywhere. Their fleets were growing faster than any species had expected. They were not just exploring space. They were taking charge. With their advanced technology, powerful military, and brilliant minds, the humans had quickly become a force to be reckoned with. No one had predicted this. The Council, with all its power and control over the galaxy, had no idea how to handle such a sudden shift. Inside the grand meeting hall of the Council, the leaders of the galaxy's most powerful species gathered. Their faces were tense, their voices low. The humans had arrived, and with them came an uncertainty the Council had never known before. There was no simple answer to the question that hung in the air. What should they do with humanity? One of the Council leaders, a tall being with silver skin and glowing eyes, stood up. "We knew the humans were dangerous," it said. "But this is beyond our expectations. They are not just a chaotic species. They have power. They have intelligence. They are organized, and they have the means to take control of this galaxy." Another leader, a creature with 3 heads and a long flowing body, spoke next. "We have underestimated them," it admitted. "When we placed Earth under quarantine, we thought they would destroy themselves. Now we see that they have not only survived, they have thrived. We cannot ignore this. The balance of power in the galaxy is shifting, and the humans are at the center of it." The leaders of the galaxy were all worried. Some were angry, others were afraid. They had spent centuries ruling over the galaxy, keeping species in line and maintaining the peace. Now, the humans were shaking everything up. The peaceful races were confused. The military powers were worried. And the Council, once the most powerful force in the universe, was beginning to feel threatened. One of the more cautious leaders, a creature with translucent skin and long, delicate wings, raised a hand. "We must be careful," it said softly. "We cannot let the humans get too powerful. We've seen what they can do with their technology. They are developing weapons and ships faster than we ever thought possible. We cannot allow them to overtake us. If we do, we risk losing control of the entire galaxy." Another leader, this one with large black eyes and a sharp, angular face, shook its head. "We can't just destroy them," it said. "The humans are not like the others. They are unpredictable. If we attack them, they will fight back with everything they have. We may end up causing a war we can't win." The Council's debate continued late into the night. Some argued for diplomacy, for trying to negotiate with the humans. Others believed the only way to keep their power was to control Earth and the humans, to suppress their rise before it was too late. But no one had a clear solution. The humans had disrupted everything. No one had expected such a sudden and complete explosion of power. The Galactic Council had never faced a situation like this. The humans, once forgotten, had come back stronger than anyone could have imagined. At first, they thought the humans would be a simple problem to handle. After all, they had been locked away for centuries, and the Council assumed Earth was still a chaotic world filled with nothing but war and destruction. But now, the Council saw something very different. The humans were everywhere. Their fleets were growing faster than any species had expected. They were not just exploring space. They were taking charge. With their advanced technology, powerful military, and brilliant minds, the humans had quickly become a force to be reckoned with. No one had predicted this. The Council, with all its power and control over the galaxy, had no idea how to handle such a sudden shift. Inside the grand meeting hall of the Council, the leaders of the galaxy's most powerful species gathered. Their faces were tense, their voices low. The humans had arrived, and with them came an uncertainty the Council had never known before. There was no simple answer to the question that hung in the air. What should they do with humanity? One of the Council leaders, a tall being with silver skin and glowing eyes, stood up. "We knew the humans were dangerous," it said. "But this is beyond our expectations. They are not just a chaotic species. They have power. They have intelligence. They are organized, and they have the means to take control of this galaxy." Another leader, a creature with 3 heads and a long flowing body, spoke next. "We have underestimated them," it admitted. "When we placed Earth under quarantine, we thought they would destroy themselves. Now we see that they have not only survived, they have thrived. We cannot ignore this. The balance of power in the galaxy is shifting, and the humans are at the center of it." The leaders of the galaxy were all worried. Some were angry, others were afraid. They had spent centuries ruling over the galaxy, keeping species in line, and maintaining the peace. Now, the humans were shaking everything up. The peaceful races were confused. The military powers were worried. And the Council, once the most powerful force in the universe, was beginning to feel threatened. One of the more cautious leaders, a creature with translucent skin and long, delicate wings, raised a hand. "We must be careful," it said softly. "We cannot let the humans get too powerful. We've seen what they can do with their technology. They are developing weapons and ships faster than we ever thought possible. We cannot allow them to overtake us. If we do, we risk losing control of the entire galaxy." Another leader, this one with large black eyes and a sharp, angular face, shook its head. "We can't just destroy them," it said. "The humans are not like the others. They are unpredictable. If we attack them, they will fight back with everything they have. We may end up causing a war we can't win." The Council's debate continued late into the night. Some argued for diplomacy, for trying to negotiate with the humans. Others believed the only way to keep their power was to control Earth and the humans, to suppress their rise before it was too late. But no one had a clear solution. The humans had disrupted everything. No one had expected such a sudden and complete explosion of power. On the other side of the galaxy, the humans were unaware of the Council's growing concern. They were too busy building, too busy growing their influence. They didn't see themselves as a threat. They simply wanted to explore, to share their knowledge, and to create a better future for themselves and the galaxy. But the Council saw things differently. One of the human leaders, a tall man named Marcus, stood before the vast human fleet. As he looked out over the hundreds of ships, all ready to embark on missions across the galaxy, he had no idea of the storm brewing in the Council chambers. He was focused on the future, on what the humans could achieve. They had already changed their planet, and now they were ready to change the galaxy. But he didn't realize that there were powerful forces watching, waiting for any sign of weakness. The Council had made their decision. They couldn't let the humans rise unchecked. But what could they do? The humans were strong, and they were growing faster than anyone could have predicted. The Council's once firm grip on the galaxy was slipping, and they knew it. The balance of power was shifting, and the humans were the ones holding the key. As the days passed, the Council grew more desperate. They didn't know how to control the humans. They didn't know how to stop their rise. And for the first time in a long while, the Council realized something. They had underestimated Earth's greatest strength. It wasn't just their technology or their military. It was their will to survive, their ability to adapt, and the power of their unity. The humans were more than just a species. They were a force that could change the galaxy forever. On the other side of the galaxy, the humans were unaware of the Council's growing concern. They were too busy building, too busy growing their influence. They didn't see themselves as a threat. They simply wanted to explore, to share their knowledge, and to create a better future for themselves and the galaxy. But the Council saw things differently. One of the human leaders, a tall man named Marcus, stood before the vast human fleet. As he looked out over the hundreds of ships, all ready to embark on missions across the galaxy, he had no idea of the storm brewing in the Council chambers. He was focused on the future, on what the humans could achieve. They had already changed their planet, and now they were ready to change the galaxy. But he didn't realize that there were powerful forces watching, waiting for any sign of weakness. The Council had made their decision. They couldn't let the humans rise unchecked. But what could they do? The humans were strong, and they were growing faster than anyone could have predicted. The Council's once firm grip on the galaxy was slipping, and they knew it. The balance of power was shifting, and the humans were the ones holding the key. As the days passed, the Council grew more desperate. They didn't know how to control the humans. They didn't know how to stop their rise. And for the first time in a long while, the Council realized something. They had underestimated Earth's greatest strength. It wasn't just their technology or their military. It was their will to survive, their ability to adapt, and the power of their unity. The humans were more than just a species. They were a force that could change the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council had spent weeks discussing what to do about the humans. The leaders of every species in the galaxy were worried. Humanity had exploded onto the scene, and no one was sure how to handle it. The humans had power, technology, and ambition, and they were spreading fast. The Council knew they could no longer ignore the rise of Earth, but they couldn't agree on what to do about it. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans were not waiting for the Council to make up its mind. They were already making their move. Their fleets had been growing, and now they were ready to take the next step. Marcus, the leader of Earth's new galactic exploration program, had spent countless hours preparing for this moment. He knew that humans needed to act fast. The galaxy was watching them, and the longer they waited, the more vulnerable they became. The humans were not just interested in exploration anymore. They were ready to stake their claim in the galaxy. They wanted to be a part of it, not just as observers, but as leaders. The first step was clear. They needed to make their presence known in a way no one could ignore. Marcus stood at the front of a massive control room, overlooking the great fleet that had gathered. Hundreds of ships, each packed with humanity's best soldiers, scientists, and diplomats, were ready for their mission. The fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It wasn't just about firepower. It was about speed, technology, and strategy. Every ship was designed with a single goal: to show the galaxy that humanity was here to stay. Today, Marcus said, his voice steady and confident, we take our first steps as leaders of this galaxy. We show them who we are. We prove that Earth is not just a survivor. We are a force that will shape the future of this galaxy. The room erupted in applause. The humans were ready. There was no turning back now. As the fleet prepared to launch, the Galactic Council was still debating. Some wanted to act quickly and suppress humanity's rise. Others feared what might happen if they tried to fight. But one thing was clear. The Council couldn't sit back and do nothing much longer. They knew the humans were planning something big. The Council's spies had reported strange movements in human space, ships moving at incredible speeds, heading toward key locations in the galaxy. The humans weren't just taking control, they were positioning themselves in ways that no one had expected. The Council's leaders couldn't ignore the growing threat any longer. They knew that if the humans made their move, They would not just disrupt the balance of power, they would change it forever. Back in the control room, Marcus's team was ready. The first wave of human ships launched into space, heading toward key planets that had once been dominated by the Council's influence. The humans were not just there to make deals or form alliances. They were there to take control of trade routes, establish bases, and set up a network of influence. They were showing the galaxy that humanity was not afraid to take risks and make their mark. The humans had spent years preparing for this. They had built ships with advanced technology that no other species had even dreamed of. They had developed weapons that could match, and even surpass, their rivals. But more importantly, they had developed a strategy that no one had seen before. They didn't just want to take power. They wanted to reshape the entire galaxy into something better. They wanted peace, cooperation, and fairness for all species, but they knew that in order to achieve this, they had to act quickly. As the fleet moved through space, the Council's leaders watched in growing concern. They could see the human ships moving with purpose, spreading across the galaxy like a wave. They had underestimated humanity, and now they could see the consequences of that mistake. The humans were not just a threat to their power. They were a force that could change everything. The first human ship arrived at one of the most important planets in the galaxy, a key trade world that had long been controlled by a powerful alien species. The humans didn't waste any time. They set up a base on the planet, using their advanced technology to quickly establish a foothold. They sent a message to the ruling species: "We're here, and we're not leaving." The Council's response was swift. They ordered fleets to move toward human-controlled worlds, ready to challenge the humans' bold actions. But it was already too late. The humans had established themselves as a major player. Their ships were already moving faster than the Council could keep up with. On Earth, Marcus and his team watched the news spread across the galaxy. The humans had made their move, and there was no going back. The galaxy would never be the same. "Now we wait," Marcus said, a calm smile on his face. "The galaxy will have to decide how it deals with us. But one thing is certain: we are no longer the underdogs. We are in control of our future." The humans had taken their first step toward becoming the most powerful species in the galaxy, and now the entire galaxy would have to reckon with their rise. The humans had done it. They had made their move and taken control of key planets in the galaxy, showing everyone that they were not just visitors. They were here to stay. The boldness of their actions sent ripples through the galaxy. At first, many species were shocked, unsure of how to respond. The Galactic Council, once the undisputed authority, was struggling to maintain its power in the face of the humans' rapid rise. But as the days passed, something unexpected began to happen. The very species that had once looked down on humanity, that had dismissed them as insignificant, started to change their minds. They began to see that the humans weren't a threat. They were an opportunity. It started with the smaller species, those who had been oppressed by the Council's rule for centuries. They saw in humanity the promise of a new future. The humans weren't just fighting for power. They were fighting for something greater: equality, fairness, and cooperation. These species began to reach out to the humans, offering their support in exchange for protection and trade. One by one, planets and species began to join the growing coalition. The humans had not only proven themselves to be strong, but they had also shown that they could be trusted. They didn't demand control or dominance. They offered partnerships. They didn't seek to conquer. They sought to lift up others who had been oppressed. This was a message that resonated deeply across the galaxy. On Earth, Marcus and his leadership team watched the growing movement with cautious optimism. They knew that the path they had chosen would not be easy. The Council wasn't going to back down without a fight, and there were still powerful forces in the galaxy that would resist change. But the support from the smaller species was a sign that they were on the right track. "The galaxy is shifting," Marcus said to his team. "We've shown them that humanity is a force to be reckoned with. Now we need to build a new future, a future where we all stand together, not against each other. Across the galaxy, the rallying cry for humanity was spreading. Messages from human-controlled worlds were reaching far and wide. The humans offered trade deals that benefited everyone. They shared advanced technology with those who had long been left behind. They helped planets recover from long-standing issues, like food shortages, disease, and energy crises. It wasn't just about military power. It was about making the galaxy a better place for everyone. Many species that had once feared the humans now saw them as a beacon of hope. The Trade Federation, a powerful group of planets that controlled many of the galaxy's most valuable resources, began to approach the humans with offers of alliance. They saw that the humans had the potential to revolutionize trade and technology. The Federation wanted in on the growing human influence. Even the once proud and isolated species, like the Utaurians, a race known for their immense strength and warrior culture, began to change their perspective. They saw how the humans fought not just with force, but with intelligence and creativity. They admired the way humanity had pulled together, despite being isolated for so long, and how they had rapidly developed a powerful and peaceful society. The Utaurians, after careful consideration, offered their military strength in exchange for humanity's technological expertise. As more species joined the coalition, the Galactic Council began to feel the pressure. They had been the center of the galaxy for so long, but now they were faced with a growing alliance led by the humans. The Council's grip on power was slipping, and they knew that they needed to act quickly if they were to keep control. But the humans were not interested in ruling the galaxy through force. They had one goal: unity. They didn't want to conquer. They wanted to lead by example. And as more and more species rallied behind them, it became clear that the humans were winning hearts and minds across the galaxy. The Council, divided and unsure of how to respond, began to see the writing on the wall. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the forefront of that change. The humans had shown that they could be trusted, that they could bring new solutions to old problems, and that they had the strength to stand up for what was right. One by one, the voices of the Council's most powerful species grew quieter. They realized that humanity's rise wasn't just about military might. It was about something more. It was about a vision for the galaxy that included everyone, not just the strongest. The humans had awakened something in the galaxy that no one had expected, the possibility of a new era. And as the months passed, it became clear that humanity was no longer just a new player in the galaxy. They were the leaders of a new alliance. The galaxy was rallying behind them, and the future was theirs to shape. On Earth, Marcus stood before his team, looking out at the stars. "We've done it," he said. "The galaxy is ready for change, and we are the ones leading it. Together, we'll build something that will last. A galaxy where every species has a place, where peace and cooperation reign." And with that, the humans took their place as the new leaders of the galaxy, not through war or domination, but through unity, compassion, and the belief that they could make the universe a better place for all. The galaxy had changed. What once seemed impossible had become a reality. The humans, who had once been isolated and underestimated, had risen to the top. They were no longer just a young, chaotic species. Now, they were the leaders of a new era. The galaxy had rallied behind them, and together, they had created something unprecedented. A true alliance of peace and cooperation, led by humanity. Marcus stood at the head of the Galactic Council meeting, a quiet smile on his face. He looked out at the representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Planets that had once feared humanity now sat together in unity, working toward a common goal. It wasn't just the power of Earth's military or technology that had brought them here. It was the strength of their ideals: equality, justice, and a belief in working together for a better future. "The galaxy has changed," Marcus said, his voice strong but calm. "We are no longer divided by fear, greed, or old rivalries. We are united. We are stronger because we stand together." The room filled with murmurs of agreement. Once proud species, who had fought each other for centuries, were now sitting side by side, building new alliances. The humans had shown them a new way forward, and the galaxy had responded. It had taken time, but humanity's rise to power had been swift. Their influence was undeniable now. They controlled the key trade routes, and their technology was shared freely with those who needed it. The once great Trade Federation, which had ruled with an iron grip, had bent to the will of humanity's ideals. They had learned that sharing was better than hoarding, that cooperation was the path to lasting prosperity. The Council had finally come to terms with the fact that they were no longer the center of the galaxy. Humanity had earned their place, not through force, but through leadership, trust, and respect. Their rise had brought peace, not war, and that peace was now the foundation of everything. But not everyone had welcomed the change so easily. There were still those who were reluctant to let go of the old ways. Powerful factions within the galaxy, especially those that had thrived under the Council's rule, still harbored deep mistrust toward humanity. They had been in control for so long that the idea of sharing that control was unsettling. Yet, one by one, even these factions had been forced to face the truth. The humans had proved that they were not conquerors. They were partners. They offered a seat at the table, a chance to shape the future, not just for themselves, but for every species in the galaxy. And the more these factions saw the benefits of working with humanity, the more they were willing to join the new order. Human-controlled space had expanded beyond Earth and the initial colonies. New settlements had been established on planets that had long been uninhabitable, thanks to human technology. Earth was no longer a lonely planet in the galaxy. It was a hub of activity, surrounded by a network of allies and partners. As the years passed, the galaxy transformed. Where there had once been war and division, there was now peace and cooperation. Species that had been at war for centuries now worked side by side. They built, explored, and thrived together. And at the center of it all, leading them forward, was humanity. Marcus and the other human leaders now had more influence than any other species in the galaxy, but they were careful. They knew the dangers of becoming too powerful, of losing sight of the ideals that had brought them to the top. They worked hard to keep the peace, to ensure that no one was left behind. Humanity's goal was clear: to build a galaxy where no species was oppressed, where every being had the chance to reach their potential. And so far, that vision had become a reality. But Marcus knew that they had to keep working, keep building, and keep ensuring that peace remained. The road ahead won't always be easy, Marcus said in a speech to the galaxy's leaders. But together, we can face any challenge. We've shown that the old ways don't have to define us. We are the future of this galaxy, and that future is one of unity, progress, and hope. The room was silent as the leaders of the galaxy listened. The humans had shown them a new path, and it was a path that everyone could walk together. Back on Earth, the population watched with pride. Their world was no longer isolated, no longer forgotten. They had risen to the top of the galaxy, and they were doing it on their terms, peacefully, justly, and with a belief in something greater than themselves. They were leaders, not conquerors. As Marcus looked out over the galaxy, he knew that the journey wasn't over. There would be challenges ahead. There would be doubts, but humanity was on top, and they were ready for whatever came next.